So when the lineup for Coachella first came out, I was very intrigued that No Doubt was on the bill. Like, oh, No Doubt's back. Because they had the last big album came out around 2001. That was like Rocksteady. And I think the Greatest Hits album came out right after that, but I can't remember. It's been so long ago. But they did put out an album in 2012, and I'm not sure if it did that well. So Gwen kind of went off and did solo stuff, which she always did. And, the band of like Tom and Aiden and Tony Kanal, they kind of felt like, well, Gwen's going to do her thing and we'll be back. Gwen goes off. I think she has a Vegas residency. She does the voice. She meets Blake Shelton, and the boys never saw her again. It's like, oh no, the boys lost to Blake Shelton. How did this happen? And she just hasn't done much No Doubt stuff at all. So I was very excited to see them back together. So we so we get to Coachella. Now, the performance was really good. Gwen was kind of up and down at first because she's been doing solo Gwen for a long time. So she hasn't been No Doubt Gwen in a while. And it took her a little while to kind of find a rhythm. I think she was good. Her vocals was kind of, it's okay. I think she was trying to find herself. And I do think if they go on tour or they do a Vegas residency, she'll be fine. But, it's the first time she's been back with the boys. But she's still charismatic on stage. And they did a lot of deep cuts. They did One Step Beyond by Madness, which was great. They did a lot of great No Doubt hits. But for me, the best part of the evening, so they performed, the crowd was into it. They were happy. Like Tony Kanal was ecstatic. Gwen looks happy because someone said like they haven't seen this Gwen in a long time. And I agree. I haven't seen, there's a light in Gwen's eyes that we haven't seen in a long time. Not to say that she was unhappy. It's just like, it was a different look. So we get to the ending. The band take a bow, which most young artists don't do today. They take a bow. Tom and Aiden leaves the stage, and it's just Tony and Gwen. Gwen jumps on the back of Tony's shoulders, and he piggybacks her back to backstage. And it was a beautiful moment, just because Tony and Gwen dated in high school. Tony broke up with Gwen later. So then when we get to Don't Speak, and all those songs came out of their breakup. But it's, those people who either broke up a long time ago or they were never a couple, but there's something, there's like an attraction you see between them. Like, they're that way. It doesn't matter if Gwen married Gavin Rossdale and had kids with Gavin Rossdale. It doesn't matter if Gwen's with Blake Shelton. It doesn't matter that Tony's moved on and he's with somebody else. When those two are together, they have some type of unbreakable bond. Now, in some multiverse, someplace, Tony and Gwen are together and happy and all that stuff. But in this world, they're not together. But there's always a part of me that feels like, I don't care if they're 65 years old. I want to see those two together because there's a connection there. Listen, I know she loves Blake Shelton, right? But there's something with Tony and Tony and Gwen got something, man, that's never going to go away. So they ride off to the sunset. Then everything goes black. Tyler, the Creator's coming up. Now, the Gen X part of me is saying, there's no way that Tyler can back this up. There's no way he can close. Like, this is No Doubt. But then I put my pop culture hat on. And my pop culture hat said, let me see what's the average age of the Coachella concert goer. And the average age is 25. I said, you know what? Tyler's the right choice. Because if this was like 30 years ago and I went to see Jodeci in concert and Stevie Wonder's there, as much as I love Stevie, me in my 20s, I want to see Jodeci. So I think it's the same way. I think people like No Doubt. I think they appreciate No Doubt. I think they was into it, but they really were there to see Tyler. Now at this point, I think he didn't start till like after 11:30. So okay, so it was a long break. Then a video pops up of Tyler in a RV dressed in a park ranger's uniform or a Boy Scout uniform. And he's talking, and then he was talking about cooking eggs. It was kind of weird, but it's Tyler. Screen goes black. The camper, the RV, is on stage. Tyler seemingly flies out the window of the RV, and the RV blows up. Pyrotechnics fire all over the place. Everything calms down. Tyler's standing there, and he's in front of a bunch of rocks, which looks like you're in the Grand Canyon or Red Rocks or something like that. Like it didn't even look like a stage anymore where No Doubt played. It's like we're in like the Grand Canyon. And so then he has a costume change, and then he comes back out and he just starts performing. And from the time that he performs, it's like a rocket ship. Now these rocks are interesting because he can walk up the rocks, he can stand on top of the RV. It's an amazing setup. And the one thing that I've always respected about Tyler, the creator, is that musically he's always been influenced by the Neptunes. I don't know where he would be without Chad and Pharrell's influence on him, because you just feel it in most of his songs. So there's a heavy Neptunes influence on Tyler. But from a stage standpoint, he is very much influenced by late 2000s Kanye West. So early 2000s Neptunes musically, late 2000s Kanye West. It's the 808 and Heartbreak Kanye. It's the My Twisted Fantasy Kanye. It's that Kanye who pushed the bounds of how you can be as a performer on hip hop. You don't have to just walk around the stage with a mic. You can use colors. You can use ballerinas. You can use sets. You can it's a toy box. You have a stage. The stage should be a toy box for being creative. And Kanye brought that to hip hop. And Tyler has taken that and put his own spin on it. So you got the rocks, you got the RV, and Tyler's just tearing through songs. And the craziest thing is there's the guest appearances. Childish Gambino, Donald Glover popped up. Shout out. If you haven't seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime, go check it out. It's a good show. Donald Glover comes out. Later on, A$AP Rocky comes out. Later on, and this is funny. So one of my favorite Tyler songs is See Me Again, featuring Kali Uchis. Now, I would like to sing Kali Uchis there, but I figured, well, she just had a baby. She had a baby with Don Toliver. Don Toliver is a rapper, if you don't know. So they just had a baby like a few weeks ago. So I didn't expect her to be there. But he performed the song, and all of a sudden, because he was standing up top of the RV, and there's Kali Uchis on top of the rocks singing. It's like, oh my God, it's Kali Uchis. And the crowd was like going crazy because she just had a baby. So she was there for a minute and she kind of bounced out. But it was a beautiful sight. But the most interesting guest appearance was Uncle Charlie Wilson. Charlie Wilson for the Gap Band popped up. Tyler sits down at the piano. And you kind of forget like guys like Tyler and Dr. Dre can play piano. He was starting to play Earfquake, and right by the song Earfquake, and right by his side was Charlie Wilson, who not only sings on the song, but he also performed a bit of Outstanding by the Gap Band. It's a beautiful thing. And selfishly, I wanted Charlie to have his own set at Coachella. And maybe that happens next year. I don't know. But let's give Charlie Wilson his flowers. I think people are, but man, Charlie Wilson is such a legend. And at his age, the fact that he can still rock a crowd is amazing. I hope the kids go check out Charlie Wilson's music and the Gap Band's music because he's fantastic. So Kali Uchis, so Uncle Charlie came before Kali Uchis. Kali Uchis performed, and then Tyler says, well, I got some bad news. We got to end things. Because there's a curfew and people booed and say, hey man, don't blame me, blame the guy who booked us. So he has the harness back on. So remember in the beginning, I said that he flew out of the RV. He has the harness back on at the end of the set. He's performing. Now he's climbing up the rocks, almost like how like the old school Adam West Batman was when they climbed up. He's walking up the rocks sideways. And then he's vertical, holding on to one of the rocks. It feels like he's caught in a tornado because it feels like the gravitational force is trying to pull him away from the rocks and he's still performing. And they're like, poof, he just disappears in the darkness of the rafters, like gone. He just flies up, legs first, like gone. And the crowd goes crazy. It's an amazing ending. And I appreciate Tyler, the creator, so much. If I go back to like Pharrell and Kanye, Tyler's in that space where he's famous, but he's not super famous like Kanye and Pharrell. So he doesn't have to have all these celebrity pitfalls. He can just go out and make the music he can make the videos he can make without much pressure. And that's a beautiful thing. If you're a Gen Xer like me, go check out his last 3 albums. It start with Igor. His last album was The Estate Sale. Check out those albums. If you want melodic hip hop, go check him out. And I got to give kudos to both of these acts. No doubt gave me a band that I miss so much. And I hope they do tour, at least do a farewell tour or a residency for their fans. And for Tyler, in a world where we have folks rapping, where they feel like only thing they need is a BBL and a twerk, and that's all you need to do to perform on stage. Tyler, the creator, is saving hip hop because he says, listen, twerking is fine. But there's nothing wrong with being creative, of being a creator. So thank you, Tyler.